Hey, what's going on everyone? Gray Talon here, taking aim, choosing his targets wisely, and considering that prey. And today, we are going to be talking about Resident Evil 2 Remake for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And we will dive into the zombie-infested town as Leon Kennedy or Claire Redfield as they do their best to survive a zombie outbreak. We return to Raccoon City, a little Midwestern town that's overrun with flesh-eating zombies. Game that is over 20 years old, and we are going to see if this is truly the definitive horror modern masterpiece of this era, or if it's just some cheap knockoff cash grab that so many other remakes and remasters have done in the past, this whole console generation, and even the generations before it. So, without further ado, Jason Voorhees and I are going to jump into the world of Resident Evil and see how it stacks up. And once again, we will do our best to try not to spoil anything in the plot. So join me and let's go.
What was that? What are these things? All right, that's far enough. Don't move! Don't move. No! What's up with that guy? That was a clean hit. We're running out of ammo here.
Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down!
First off, everyone, I just want to thank you for watching. Second off, I cannot fathom and believe that it's been almost 20, actually over 20 years since Resident Evil 2 has transpired. Look on the screen now, you can see it. This is some clips from the 1998 version of Resident Evil 2. I wanted to just do this in a little backdrop sense so you guys can get an idea of how far the remake has come. Capcom has put all of their eggs into the basket when it comes to Resident Evil 2. And we're going to see why in a few minutes. In terms of graphics, you're going to see, like, now we're jumping into the 2019 game, and just from the opening cutscene alone, you can see the graphics stand out tremendously. It's 2019, and in this day and age, one may begin to ask, how much better can graphics truly get? And the answer lies no further than with this title, Resident Evil 2 The Remake, using the new RE engine that Capcom has, that it has used in Resident Evil 7, and the engine they're using is simply phenomenal, and it's witnessed here, has such weight and a presence that you will begin to pause for several moments at a time as you take in the awe-inspiring, meaty visual on some of the zombies as they begin to deform and deteriorate before your very eyes. Whether it be from examining their idle corpses or studying and counting the pieces of brain chunks left behind after taking their heads off with that faithful shotgun or magnum. In terms of performance, I was playing this on my Xbox One X, and it honestly is damn near flawless. The frame rate seems to be consistent, almost locked at 60 frames per second for the most part, except during some intense action sequences when it dipped below around 50 frames per second, but that was few and far between. Output on the One X and was true 4K at 2160p, and from the opening sequence to the part where you turn over that zombie's head to reveal some of those juicy and meaty chunks of flesh, to the first appearance of that horrible, horrifying Mr. X, the game is a true delight to witness through and through. Now, since the graphics are perfect, how does the gameplay and control hold up, you're probably wondering. Well, what happens when you marry the atmosphere, item crafting, inventory management, and horror of Resident Evil 7 with the camera and control scheme of Resident Evil 4? Sex, people. Pure, simple, unadulterated, prolific, and glorious sex is what you receive in return. This is quite possibly the most fluidly controlled Resident Evil game I have played since Resident Evil 4 rolled down almost 15 years ago. The controls are airtight and responsive, allowing you to navigate the eerie police station and lab with ease. The signature shortcut 180 snap feature returns also in Resident Evil, as well as that they have trademarked over the last 2 decades, where you hold down the joystick and press A or X quickly to turn around the opposite direction. A useful tool indeed when Mr. X comes a-knockin'. Now, in terms of movement and control, the game offers you several options. You can opt to simply run away from all forms of zombies and lickers who are trying to chow down or cop a piece of that ass like you're a grade A top choice piece of meat in a Mile High Club and the only female member of a flight surrounded by ravenous, love-starved men. Or on the flip side, if you decide to run and gun your way through, might I suggest an heavy emphasis on the gun aspect and a light emphasis on the run aspect, especially when lickers are present. You want to tiptoe around them and walk on eggshells whenever you see those Gene Simmons from Kiss imposters lurking about. When you fire, you always want to aim true for their heads, especially on Mr. X, even though shots only stun him and leaving a small window of opportunity for you to run past and make your escape. In terms of weapons and upgrades, you start off with a simple handgun and have to work your way with unlocking other weapons via key cards or solving puzzles for guns such as the beloved shotgun, the flamethrower, the submachine gun, and the grenade launcher. You can also unlock greater inventory capacity via weapon holsters that are picked up around the map. During each separate campaign. That makes life a lot easier. And finally, the puzzles are quite elaborate, just as they were from the original RE2 back in 1998, so be prepared to put on your thinking cap throughout both Leon and Claire's campaigns as you scratch your head to solve the chemistry puzzles and even have to convert binary code to unlock elaborate door mechanics in the lab sections. And if you keep wondering who this Mr. X is, you might want to look at the screen now. In terms of the story, campaign, and narrative, the setting is 1998 in a small Midwestern town of Raccoon City. You're playing as rookie cop Leon S. Kennedy going to the police station for his first day on the job, and you're a punk rocker girl who college students, Claire Redfield, who's in search of her brother Chris. But all of a sudden, a zombie outbreak happens in their town, and terror is unleashed. And their stories converge at the police station, where the majority of the game transpires. For a 21-year-old game, Capcom has made sure that to make Resident Evil 2 feel all grown up. While the story aspect remains the same from the original release, they hired a brand new cast for the voice, as well as recreated most of the way the scenes play out, like the first introduction of the illustrious Mr. X. Each campaign has its fresh yet familiar. For example, Leon's first sighting of that damned Mr. X is nuanced and as a slow burn in a dark corridor, whereas Claire's run, although if you first spot him in the same place, is a completely different encounter. The core of the narrative, it revolves around Leon and Claire both trying to achieve the same goal, figure out a way to survive the confounds within the Raccoon City police station while working separately in their unique campaigns. Things go awry and snowball downward and take them from the police station to the sewers and right to the laboratory where the TNG viruses were made. And then once good old Mr. X shows up, things change. And in case that anyone doesn't know who Mr. X is, well, just rewind a little bit, and you'll see exactly who he is. And just be wary of him, because if you don't take him down right away, you're going to go down harder than a hooker on a weekend in a romp in Las Vegas, because this dude has moves like the T-800, hits like Mike Tyson, and prison Mike, mind you, so stay frosty. Each campaign is about 6 to 8 hours long, depending on your pace, and offers another set of playthroughs on Leon, either Claire's B-side or Leon's B-side, which means you will start off in different areas and end up following different routes and pick up different gear at different times, etc., to receive the newer and truer ending. I suggest you play Leon A scenario first, then go over on to Claire B for the final and, let's say, the good ending. So we're talking a total of roughly around 16 hours to 24 hours here, depending on 2 to 4 playthroughs. If you play through the game 4 times for shits and giggles, you might get closer to the 24-hour mark. Overall, the game is heavily story-driven and robust, leaving players feeling the true meaning of survival horror along the way as you try to unlock the mysteries surrounding each of the viruses associated with the aloof Umbrella Corporation. Next up is sound, music, and voice. From the sounds of your characters breathing as a creaking old wooden floor squeaks beneath you as you're walking down a supposedly empty hallway to the terrifying growls and grunts of the zombies plowing towards you to munch on your no-no parts, the sound effects are simply magnificent and remarkable. Sometimes the sound of silence is the biggest star of the show, since Capcom does a tremendous job at making the player feel tensed up as they navigate dark, gloomy corridors and every corners of the police station and the laboratory and the sewers. Just when you think the coast is clear and you're about to reach that sweet, sweet save room, something unexpected usually happens that may cause you almost lose control of your gamepad and bowels as well. The music is subtle yet effective. The slow-paced ambience of woefully sounding backdrops and was a nice touch as you traverse the environment, carefully inspecting your surroundings, ensuring your survival. The weapons, too, when used, sound just as you would expect them. Nothing quite satisfies to the very core, like hearing the sound of a shell of a shotgun or a magnum blast and watching the zombie's head explode in front of you like popping a fat, overbearing zit. Or using the flamethrower and hearing the crackling sounds of fire as your enemies burn to a crisp, listening to the residual hissing sounds after you barbecued them like a rack of ribs on the 4th of July. In terms of replay value, it's high as a kite on a windy March day. I had to literally drag myself away from playing through the game a third time. I was infatuated with the entirety of this game had to offer. I had not been so glamored by a Resident Evil title since Resident Evil 4. There was just so much to go back and do in terms of getting all the playthroughs, weapons, endings, upgrades, items, and even speedruns to unlock such things as infinite ammo. Who wouldn't want a Barrage Mr. X with a plethora of rockets and grenades to the face to see if you could actually kill that rat bastard? This is truly the definitive Resident Evil experience that people and fans have been looking for over 14 years, ever since Resident Evil 4 came a-rolling around. In conclusion, with all that being said, what more can I say but to give this remake an astounding 9.5 out of 10. Simply, it is remarkable on all fronts. The video game industry now has a new bar and standard set for remakes. I mean, Capcom has just done such a tremendously amazing job with this title that it's just going to be really tough for remakes or ports to even hold this kind of weight moving forward without just building it up from the ground up again. So after you have finally run through both Leon and Claire's both individual campaigns, and the bittersweet blood zombie smoke clears and is settled, what more can I really say about this magnificently crafted game other than why are you listening to me? I'm a dumbass. Don't listen to me anymore. I already said what you needed to hear. Go play the game. Go experience the greatness for yourself. Final thoughts here. Pros. It's a beautifully yet horrifically detailed world, and from the characters to the environments, a superb story with so many terrifying moments and outcomes. Rewarding inventory and upgrade systems, satisfying cameras and controls, tons of replay value. Cons, the only cons I could really find is if you're playing just one campaign, like if you're just playing through Leon's campaign, you're going to be bummed out because the game is only going to be about 5-6 hours long. And also there's a slight learning curve. Might not be for everyone. I know for myself, even I was doing the game on standard for the most part. Toward the end of the game, I'm not going to lie, on each campaign, I had to lower the difficulty to assist mode, which is easy because other than me being a bitch, I was running out of ammo. And even when I lowered the difficulty to assist mode, which was easy, Leon's campaign, I was still struggling with ammo until the lab part, the very end. But Claire's B run for me, I was on normal, I think, and I was just cruising through it with so much ammo I didn't even know what to do with. So every experience is going to differ. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like the video, maybe like it. If not, dislike it. And or better yet, subscribe. Or tell me why it sucks so I can get better. Listen, you guys have a great day. And I appreciate any little time you can take out from me. I really appreciate this. This is a new venture for me. And the best is yet to come.